You're trapped in a life that feels more like survival than living, aren't you? Every day. The same exhausting routine, the same self-doubt, the same nagging thoughts that tell you you're not enough. You've accepted it as your reality, but deep down, you know something isn't right. The question is, are you going to keep believing this narrative that your life is defined by struggle, or will you break free from it? Time to stop pretending that this is the only way life can be. The truth is that the chains you feel are only as real as the story you've been telling yourself. And that story, it's holding you back from everything you're truly capable of. If you're serious about your personal health, whether you want to stop suffering, get clear guidance on how to stop overthinking, or to be more present in life, now's the perfect time to subscribe to our channel. Like this video if you're ready to grow further as a person. Now, let's continue. Is it possible that the issue lies with your self-perception? Can you imagine if all your beliefs about your past, your shortcomings, and your capabilities have been founded on a foundation of doubt? It's not that suffering doesn't exist. What matters is how you internalize it and how it defines you. Right now, the tale you tell yourself is more important than ever. When you begin to doubt it, you embark on a path towards viewing life not as a string of unfortunate events, but as a sequence of decisions that dictate your trajectory moving ahead. In The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle discusses how we are stuck in a never-ending loop of misery because we identify with our thoughts, grief, and suffering, the story of our existence. He emphasizes the primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. Is it possible that your current perspective on yourself, your circumstances, and the world is based on nothing more than a story or idea to which you have been emotionally attached? How about if you could simply release that? The truth is that the majority of people are engrossed in a tragic story that is seldom questioned and dictates their everyday existence. As the plot progresses, the audience begins to question if they are actually connecting with the protagonist, or if they are only experiencing a series of fleeting thoughts. There are parts of this plot that are relentless and terrifying. The message is that people should define themselves by the bad things that have happened to them, including setbacks, injustices, hurts, missed chances, and so on. Because of how it shapes their entire perspective, people often experience deep and persistent agony. There are internal causes as well as external ones that contribute to this suffering. It has nothing to do with their surroundings or the individuals that inhabit them. The worst pain people ever feel often stems from the lies they tell themselves. The trap they fall into is their own internalized story. These ideas cloud their present, causing them guilt and weighing them down for what is ahead. People rarely accept that they are trapped in a self-delusional illusion, even when they are going through excruciating agony and suffering. They've come to identify more with the ideology than with themselves. The importance of acknowledging that our internal narratives hold us back cannot be overstated. The mind is a superb instrument if used rightly, advises Eckhart Tolle in A New Earth. But when used improperly, it can do significant damage. The majority of people are oblivious to the negative ways they are utilizing their minds, since they are too engrossed in their narrative. Their agony is intensified because they don't recognize the mind as a tool to help them be authentic. Instead, they let their thoughts and judgments run wild. Because they are so absorbed in their story, many people pass up chances to expand it. What if they could detach themselves from these concepts? What if they could accept that this story, which portrays their identity, history, and destiny, isn't actually accurate? Can you picture a world where individuals would cease accepting the narrative that states this is your life, and instead ask, where is your life? When were you truly yourself? A lot of people's inner stories center on things like injustice, grief, and pain. Their narrative is one of suffering, missed chances, and other people's cruel treatment of them. To them, this is the ultimate goal of existence. There is nothing else. When they look back on their past, all they can see is a string of mistakes, failures, and opportunities missed. Their outlook on the future is one of continued sadness and despair. What people tell themselves shapes every part of their lives. They believe it to be true, but it's really just a story, a compilation of their own memories, beliefs, and concepts that they've internalized. Change of perspective is necessary here. Eckhart Tolle argues in The Power of Now that there is nothing more real than the here and now. This very second is all you have, so soak it up. Emphasize the importance of living in the present moment. You can start living in the now when you begin to see your tale as nothing more than a collection of mental constructs built on previous experiences and fears about the future. Get your mind off the story that has been holding you back and pay attention to the here and now. This disclosure conceals a crucial but nuanced truth. Nobody has been through more than what they say they have. Our minds are masters at amplifying our perception of pain. But here's the thing. What if their story inside their head is the only thing making them unhappy? The events of life may not be the source of their sorrow, but how they choose to interpret them may be. We are encouraged by Eckhart Tolle to question the narratives we tell ourselves. The pain that you create now is always some form of non-acceptance, some form of unconscious resistance to what is. We will only prolong our misery if we fight against what is happening. But the pain of fighting the present moment can be lifted if we just let ourselves be in it. That doesn't mean we have to take everything in stride, but it does imply we can practice non-judgmental presence in the here and now. After you achieve this, you will be able to escape. A big part of their suffering comes from the stories they tell themselves. Because of the narrative running through their minds, everything is unbearable. Picture this, though, if they could stand back and assess that plotline without bias. Imagine instead that they realize they are more than the story's sum of their mistakes, lost opportunities, and injustices. Envision a world where they realize that their pain is not caused by external events, but by the narratives they make themselves about those occurrences. Is more agony something people seek out? Are they willing to break free from this narrative and escape the never-ending cycle of suffering? Are they ready to admit that this isn't my life and abandon the "this is my life and abandon the this is my life" narrative? As strange as it seems, the truth is that they don't have a soul. They are crucial, to state the obvious. The power of this distinction is immense. People do not own or possess life. It is not theirs. To be more precise, they are existence. Life does not belong to them, and they do not possess it. Everything in the universe is a transient expression of the one and only consciousness. Being aware of one's own thoughts, feelings, and experiences allows one to perceive everything in the cosmos. Everything is driven by the same consciousness, and everything is but a transient expression of that consciousness. This revelation affects everything. It is impossible for someone to die if they are not alive. Anytime someone says they are losing their life, they are making up a contrast between two realities. None of that matters, and neither does their life. They are essential to existence. It is in their nature. They would be at peace with death if they understood this, since they would never settle for anything less than their authentic selves. Their memories and ideas are not what set them apart. Their essential essence is comprised of something much more basic. They are fundamentally aware, and they can only know this knowledge in the present moment. Being present in the here and now is the key to liberation. Concentrating on the present moment helps individuals break through mental blocks and connect with their own selves. First step in arriving at this realization is realizing that concepts don't necessarily have to go hand in hand. Huge differences exist in this case. They are necessary for ascending to a higher level of awareness. When they begin to notice these gaps, they realize there is a degree of consciousness beyond knowledge. They are able to sit quietly in the present moment without thinking. In these places, by releasing themselves from the constraints of habitual thought, people are able to access a deeper part of themselves during these periods. Children may not pay much attention to these gaps at first, but as they learn to focus, they will see how ubiquitous they are. This awareness is still intricately linked to thinking. The objective is not to remain in the domain of ideas. The key is to understand that there are other parts of awareness besides thought. This facet is constantly there, ready to be noticed. They are able to remain present and undisturbed, even when their minds aren't working, because they are conscious of this space, this gap of stillness. This is who they really are, a condition of pure consciousness. By establishing a firm foundation in this awareness, individuals realize that they are separate from their thoughts. They are not as they have been portraying themselves to be. They are the minds that give rise to these concepts. An appropriate comparison would be to observe the surface of the ocean, with its constantly shifting waves and ripples. But below the surface, there's a vast, placid ocean. Thoughts come and go like ocean waves, but consciousness remains constant and untouched by fleeting ideas. They risk being ensnared by the waves if they stick to surface life, because they will relate to every thought and wave. The stillness below will always be a mystery to them. But if they can get a hold of the idea of digging deeper, they can achieve a calmness and clarity that goes beyond thinking. This insight does not constitute a reversal, despite what some may believe. This has absolutely nothing to do with going back to your primal instincts or losing all cognitive ability. The key is to escape the mental loop and enter a deeper state of awareness. One must understand that the essence of life lies in more permanent aspects than transient emotions and thoughts. A more fundamental and ever-present presence exists within each of us. The challenge is to recognize this. We could learn a lot about this from animals, including dogs. Dogs, in contrast to humans, are not burdened with the difficulties of abstract reasoning. They aren't the type to constantly be thinking about a story. By focusing on the here and now, people are able to enjoy life's simple pleasures without worrying about the future or the past. When the dog looks at them, it could experience a brief moment of peace and connection. Rationale for this is because they briefly pass out. Becoming is all they are doing. Being around animals can induce a sense of profound relaxation and mindfulness, which is one of the reasons they are so valued. For an instant, they draw on an internal reservoir. Peering into the eyes of a feline or canine can instantly alleviate stress and anxiety. Along with the animal they are connecting with, they are also waking a deeper consciousness inside themselves. I couldn't have said it better. The tale they've been told, the tale they've penned, or the concepts they possess are unrelated. They represent the awareness that underlies such concepts. By accessing this awareness, people are really connecting with who they are, and it is in this connection that they find true freedom and peace. Remembering that our true selves are not defined by our deception is vital as we approach the end of this trip. Our histories of trauma are collections of fleeting thoughts. They do not constitute our true selves. When we release this constructed story, we realize that we are greater than the sum of our shortcomings and the expectations of others. In reality, we encompass all that exists outside of these concepts and emotions. In the present moment, free from the constraints of our inner narrative, we can experience tranquility, lucidity, and unadulterated awareness, our authentic, immutable nature. The initial stride toward emancipation is the realization that we are not our own things, but rather the core of being. Similar to how the ocean remains enormous and still beneath the waves, our true nature remains constant behind the ebb and flow of thought. By grounding ourselves in the present moment and tapping into the awareness that lies underlying our thoughts, we can break free of the vicious cycle of suffering. The tranquility we seek is already within us. It is merely waiting to be found. It just requires the guts to let go of the story we've been telling ourselves and embrace our own selves, unfiltered awareness. Instead, let's keep growing together on this path of self-discovery. Subscribe to our channel for daily inspiration and grow as a person. comment the word "now" and like the video to show your support. Also, consider sharing this video with someone who could use some encouragement to slow down and enjoy life more fully.